Welcome to this episode of Wehry History and Entertainment News of the Berkshires and beyond. 2025 is slowly coming to a close. On this episode, I'll be focusing on some very special holiday events happening in the Berkshires. More importantly, however, I'll be starting my 2025 year in review with discussions on 3 important local stories. And I'll be mentioning 2 very special honors WWHEN achieved this year. First, it's time for this episode's trivia question. This episode's question is a 2-part question. The question is, what year did Berkshire Theater Group open, and how many plays were performed? Now, for this episode's local headlines. First, we will be going to visit the Clark Art Institute in Williamstown for a new exhibit titled Shadow Visionaries, French Artists Against the Current. Although realism is often seen as the dominant aesthetic of mid-19th century France, many artists working outside painting embraced imagination, dreams, and allegory instead. Working against the grain, figures such as Victor Hugo, Charles Marion, Rodolphe Bresden, and a roster of early French photographers offered an alternate vision anchored in memory, fantasy, and longing. These shadow visionaries recognized the potential of prints and photographs to construct a spiritual consciousness in the art of mid-1800s France. Shadow Visionaries, French Artists Against the Current, 1840 to 1870, encompasses the Gothic nostalgia of architectural photography, the social critique embedded in searing allegorical illustrations, and the literary connections with fantastical art, among other themes. This exhibit is organized by the Clark Art Institute and curated by Anne Leonard, Manton Curator of Prints, Drawings, and Photographs. This exhibit will be running from December 20th through March 8th. For more information, visit clarkart.edu. For our next story, we will be visiting the Mahawie Theater in Great Barrington for a couple of events. Up first, guitarist John Pizzarelli will be performing. Grammy Award-winning producer and guitarist extraordinaire John Pizzarelli salutes the legendary Tony Bennett, celebrating over 60 years of unparalleled artistry. From Bennett's 50s pop hits like Because of You and Rags to Riches, through his timeless classics of the 1960s, such as I Want to Be Around, and I Left My Heart in San Francisco, to his remarkable collaborations with Bill Evans, Pizzarelli's trio will bring these iconic songs to life once again. This evening will also highlight Bennett's incredible revival in the 90s, while Pizzarelli weaves in personal anecdotes and stories that reveal the man behind the music. This concert will take place on December 20th at 6 p.m. The other Mahawie event for this episode is Bach at New Year's. The Berkshire Bach Society presents Bach at New Year's, the 6 Brandenburg Concertos, an evening that has been a holiday tradition since 1993. 9-time Grammy Award winner and artistic director Eugene Drucker leads the Berkshire Bach Ensemble in the iconic works that started it all. Join Berkshire Bach for an evening of great music and dazzling performances, and start your new year on a high note. As the name suggests, this event will be going on December 31st at 6 p.m. For more information, visit the website shown here. For our next story, we will be visiting the Berkshire East Mountain Resort for a concert. Join Emily Margaret and Nate Potter for an evening of music that reflects their own diverse musical tastes, from neo-soul and R&B to psychedelic rock and reggae. Their set will include originals as well as fresh takes on classics from artists they love, including Stevie Wonder, Amy Winehouse, and Pearl Jam. Their music showcases their poetically stirring lyrics. Emily Margaret's powerful, velvety voice, and Nate's expressive guitar playing. This concert takes place on December 26th at 6 p.m. Berkshire East Mountain Resort is located on 66 Thunder Mountain Road in Charlemont. For more information, visit the website shown here. Up next, we will be visiting Berkshire Theater Group for 2 events, both of which will be happening at the Colonial Theater in Pittsfield. First is Wizards of Winter. Celebrate the season with a spectacular holiday rock opera that will leave you filled with wonder and cheer. Returning for their 3rd year at the Colonial Theater, the Wizards of Winter will light up the stage with The Christmas Dream, a theatrical musical journey that blends the excitement of rock with the heart of the holidays. Featuring former members of legendary rock bands including the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, Def Leppard, Rainbow, Alice Cooper, Blue Oyster Cult, and more, alongside seasoned Broadway and theater veterans. This 11-piece ensemble delivers a powerhouse performance like no other. With soaring vocal harmonies, electrifying guitar solos, precision string, thunderous percussion, and dazzling keyboard work, the Wizards of Winter perform music from their albums The Christmas Dream, The Magic of Winter, and their self-titled debut, interwoven with a heartwarming story of the true meaning of Christmas. From symphonic rock and powerful ballads to festive fun and a surprise visit from Mrs. Claus, this high-energy, family-friendly production is an unforgettable way to welcome the holiday season. The show is scheduled for December 20th at 7:30 p.m. The other BTG story is a New Year's event. Backed by popular demand for a third year, Max Creek returns to the Colonial Theater this New Year's Eve. A beloved staple of Northeast music for over 5 decades, Max Creek defies categorization, fusing rock, country, reggae, soul, jazz, and calypso into a sound that's entirely their own. Joyful, dynamic, and endlessly engaging, their performances are more than concerts. They're celebrations. With a catalog of more than 200 songs and a reputation for crafting epic, free-flowing sets on the fly, Max Creek invites audiences into an experience that's spontaneous, heartfelt, and alive with connection. Expect everything from soulful ballads to deep jams, raucous rockers, and crowd sing-alongs, all delivered with the signature Creek warmth and energy. As its name suggests, this event takes place on New Year's Eve at 8:30. For more information on this or any other concert at the Colonial Theater, visit BerkshireTheaterGroup.org. As stated at the beginning of the episode, 2025 will be ending soon. So it's now time for part 1 of the annual Arts and Entertainment Review. 2025 was a busy year for both local and national entertainment news. It was also a big year personally for WWHEN, as I celebrated 2 major accomplishments. The first was the 5th anniversary of WWHEN. The show started in 2020, which was difficult as I had to film it during the COVID pandemic at my house. Once I started filming at PCTV Studios, the show really grew into what it is today. The other major accomplishment was receiving the 2025 PCTV Excellence in Television Programming Series Award. This is actually my second time receiving this award. I also earned it in 2021. Even though the world is a difficult place today, WWHEN remains committed to solely arts and entertainment events as an escape from all the negativity. Continuing our recap of 2025, These next 3 stories will be focusing on some of the local entertainment highlights of the year. This episode will be discussing, in my opinion, 3 of WWHEN's most immersive stories of the year. The first of these is Mass Mocha. If you've been watching WWHEN for some time, viewers will notice I discuss Mass Mocha on a near weekly basis. That's because they always have some type of entertainment event going on, whether it's a concert, a new art exhibit, or something else. Up first is 2025 Mass Mocha's music schedule. Mass Mocha's 2025 concerts included bands and musicians such as Slowdive, a popular shoegaze band, Mexican-American artist Angelica Garcia, the pop hip-hop group Snack Time, and Lake Street Dive, a 5-piece band known for combining many different genres into their work. Mass Mocha also held their annual Fresh Grass concert series and Bang on a Can, which brought many people to the city for great rock and bluegrass musicians. Excuse me. The company also held numerous art exhibits throughout the year, including, but not limited to, Cultural Apothecary, which focused on a 19th century disease called Americanitis, the mystical work Jimmy Sarno Rhapsody, and the annual Teen Art Invitational, which brought some of the best teen artists in Berkshire County together to celebrate their work. Besides the usual concerts and art exhibits, Mass Mocha also held The Center Will Not Hold, a dance show with various styles led by Efrat Asheri and Michelle Durance, a talk with author Seth Rogovoy about his Beatles book, a performance by the Trisha Brown Dance Company, the installation of a skate park in the summer by Skate Haven, a discussion with social justice author Josh McPhee, a traditional celebration of Dia de los Muertos, and a performance by stand-up comedian Maddie Weiner. Our next entertainment story takes us to Berkshire Theater Group. The Berkshire Theater Group, as a reminder, has 3 different theaters under its branch. They are the Colonial Theater, located at 111 South Street in Pittsfield, the Unicorn Theater, located at 6 East Street in Stockbridge, and the Fitzpatrick Main Stage, also located in Stockbridge. Berkshire Theater Group is known for its concerts. Some of its biggest concerts of the year included Heart and Soul Date Night at the Colonial Theater on Valentine's Day, Drifters, Players, and Coasters, a tribute to various 1950s and 1960s bands, the cover group The Carpenters, Yesterday Once More, which focused on the 1970s group that shares their name, Albert Cummings, a blues guitarist, and Harvest and Rust, the Neil Young-based cover band and a frequent guest at the Colonial Theater. On the theatrical front this year, Berkshire Theater Group produced a wide selection of plays. These included a production of the Tony Award-winning play Elephant Man, the solo piece Out of Character, a performance of the murder mystery drama Mousetrap, which was originally written by famed author Agatha Christie, the one-woman show Dying is No Excuse, in which Renee Taylor discussed her career and her love life with Joseph Bologna, another Tony Award play production, this time Metamorphosis, sorry, and the annual production of A Christmas Carol. Overall, 2025 was another busy season at the Berkshire Theater Group. Berkshire Theater Group also provides the answer to this episode's trivia question. As a reminder, it is a two-part question. This episode's question was, what year did Berkshire Theater Group open? And how many plays were performed? The answer to the first part of this question is 1928. And the answer to the second part of this question is 10. The plays were, in alphabetical order, The Buffoon by A. Tupper and Howard Lee, Canadia by George Bernard Shaw, Captain Applejack by Walter Hackett, The Cradle Song by Gregorio Martinez Sierra, The Enchanted April by Kane Campbell, Meet the Wife by Lynn Starling, Mr. Pym Passes By A. Milne, who's more famous as the author of the Winnie the Pooh franchise, Outward Bound by Sutton Vane, The Romantic Age, also written by A. Milne, and The Swan by Frédéric Molnar, which was the first production ever performed at Berkshire Theater Group. Out of all the stories WWHEN puts out yearly, my favorite story to discuss is the annual Basketball Hall of Fame segment. Every year, I do biographies of all members of the class being inducted. This year's class had 9 members inducted. It was a smaller class than in years past, but the quality of class was huge, in particular for the women being inducted this year. As a reminder, here is a brief discussion on all 9 members. The 2008 U.S. Olympic men's basketball team, who won possibly the most important gold medal in U.S. basketball history. Carmelo Anthony, a 10-time NBA All-Star who scored over 28,000 points and won 3 Olympic gold medals. Mickey Arison, a co-owner of the Miami Heat who has led them to 3 championships under his watch. Sue Bird, currently the WNBA leader in wins, assists, and games played while leading the Seattle Storm to 4 championships. Danny Crawford, one of the NBA's most respected referees for 32 years. Billy Donovan, who coached the University of Florida to back-to-back NCAA championships and has won over 400 NBA games. Sylvia Fowles, the all-time leading rebounder for the WNBA, who led the Minnesota Lynx to 2 championships. Dwight Howard, a 3-time NBA Defensive Player of the Year and an 8-time NBA All-Star. And Maya Moore, who led the University of Connecticut, the Minnesota Lynx, and Team USA to multiple championships. If you are curious about the Hall of Famers in general, you can watch my previous episodes on YouTube or PCTV's website. The episodes that contain the Basketball Hall of Famers ran from June 24th through August 19th. That ends this episode of Wehry History and Entertainment News in the Berkshires and beyond. If you would like to watch this or any other WWHEN episode again, you can visit PCTV's website shown here or my YouTube page at RT Wehry. And I want to thank CTSB TV and NBCTC for showing my show on their public access station. On the next episode of WWHEN, I'll be concluding my 2025 Year in Review special. Thank you.